What if I told you I knew exactly what Pokemon the started? First partner Pokemon would be for Legend ZA were. Well, I don't. Sorry to disappoint. I've been known as a prophet, a herald that calls forth things with my videos, so perhaps this will be the same. In all seriousness, these are like my soft predictions. I say soft because they may be a bit weird for it, as well as me having some choice ideas, some big brain ideas for concepts for the starters here. In this video, I'll also be doing some concept style pages as well. I found them really fun and may do more going forward. Comment below if you like the look of them enough for me to keep going when they show up in the video. Alright, let's play Guess Who with our Pokemon. No, I refuse to say first partner Pokemon. It doesn't roll off the tongue like starters does. So here's our strapping candidates of starters to go off of. Our first order of business is to say goodbye to the Kalos starters. Because our only game to go off this is Legends Arceus, it's safe to assume the starters from original Kalos won't be our starters here. Although I reckon they'll get Megas to compensate. Next I'm going to make a bold choice here and say that any starter already with a Mega is also gone. As much as I like the idea of regional forms getting Megas, I think that Game Freak would want to give a starter a regional form and new Mega to compensate. Although I'm sure they'd be overjoyed to give Charizard another Mega and have it in the spotlight here. And finally we say goodbye to the Legends Arceus starters. Makes no sense to have these here, that'd be a boring choice if they showed up again. As much as I love the choices there. And that's our list of candidates, a whole bunch of good choices. Now there's been many predictions for who is going to be the starters here all over the internet. Many people say it's probably going to be something along the lines of Snivy, Piplup and Scorbunny. For various French related reasons, Snivy being royalty and Scorbunny, I guess a whole bunch of rollerblading connections? That doesn't matter. But let me give you my own crackpot theory. Who are some of the most popular Pokemon right now on this list, for better or worse? For my money, I'm choosing three that would make some great marketing decisions, as well as having some great connections to France. Only problem is, two of them might be kind of related in species, but I think that'd kind of be amazing for marketing. Okay, so first going in kind of the type Pokedex order, and this is going to be a shock, I chose Sprigatito. And I know that is weird because why would they use such a new Pokemon? Well, bear with me here and I'll explain it as I draw it. For our fire starter, and this is the kicker, we're going to be picking the strongest Pokemon ever here. The one that is so popular with VGC, it's Incineroar. Two cats. We love cats. I mean, imagine the marketing of these two kitties having fights and just being cats together. Silly, but this is my choice. And finally, for our water type, this one I actually agree with all the people saying Piplup. I mean, yeah, connections to Napoleon and all that, but also the popularity. The Piplup dance, just all of it. I see Squishmallows of Piplup just all over the place. It's such an iconic Pokemon and makes sense for our starter. I would have picked Primarina due to the concept I had in mind, but Meowscarada fits so much better. Let's jump right into it. So with Horizons going hard on Sprigatito's line, as well as just marketing in general having Sprig in the limelight, I think making it a starter is a good idea. And with the Legends starters' regional forms being still kinda similar to their regular forms, we can keep the general Meowscarada-ness while going a little spooky. So my idea here was for Le Fantôme de l'Opéra, or Phantom of the Opera for people not trying to sound so fancy. I thought Meow works really well here for the simple fact that it's already got a bit of a magician stage presence in it, and that Masquerade mask works so well for the concept. The idea would be more of a dour and depressing kitty who bores people looking at it. It now has a half of a white mask, and the two, I guess you could call them scarves, have become a full-on cloak for them instead. I really wanted to have that almost Samurott to Hisuian Samurott thing going on, where it's just a bit more evil feeling. I've never really read or watched anything about the Phantom of the Opera. I've only really consumed it from parodies in other media, but after reading a bit about it, I like the idea of it. I always thought it was about some kind of incel who just hated people, but it's a bit darker and more interesting than that. Obviously we had to go Grass Ghost for this one. I mean, the Phantom of the Opera speaks for itself, and I can kind of just see this Meowscarada standing above everyone in a theatre as a light from below shows off this hissing kitty. Initially with colours I went with this sort of inversion of Meow's normal colours, a darker green for the body but white for the legs and mask. But there was a problem with the mask looking like some serious hate symbols, and I didn't like that. Instead of changing it fully, I thought adding some sort of spectral purples to it really helped a lot, as the shape design was great but the white made it look a bit iffy. Maybe it could even be like a Dragapult's tail where it trails off into a spectral end, that'd be cool. Still weighing up whether or not the rose would float around like the plant in base Meow or it'd hold onto it normally. In the concept design stage, I wanted to do these to show some of the emotions of the Pokemon. For Meow, it was that sort of don't look at me expression, but also a sort of more relaxed, chill, derpy expression that cats do, with that blep. I also wanted to show off the back of the cloak there, which really helps flesh out the Pokemon, and these pages just, they help a lot, and they're quite fun to do as well. Meowscarada, the Phantom Pokemon, a Grass and Ghost type, Colosian form. Legends tell that a Meowscarada doing stage magic at a Lumiose Theatre perished after a great fire. There, a phantom of them lingered to haunt the theatre forever. This form of Meowscarada is even more showy than that of their Paldean form. It has a brooding nature, and despite having a knack for theatrics, it hates being observed. The inside of their capes can reflect light to blind foes so that it can make a grand escape. If pursued, it will not hesitate to attack using all the ghostly forces it has under its command. Meowscarada have the abilities Overgrow and Cursed Body. Without exactly knowing how the battle style will go in Legends Arceus, I can't say exactly what kind of move it would have, but I'm gonna say that it gets a new move called Ominous Exit, a 5 PP ghost type status move. The user unleashes a dazzling flash intending to disorient the foe. This lowers the foe's accuracy by 1 stage and switches out Meowscarada with a Pokemon in reserve.
Pocket sand!
So next, let's do the strongest Pokemon of today, Incineroar. I went into this knowing I could never make a change to this Pokemon that would actually be better or stronger than base Incineroar. Seriously, this Pokemon will go down in history as being the greatest menace ever. Till they make something stronger, but that's a scary thought in and of itself. My idea for this one is to actually make Incineroar even sillier. I was looking at ideas and found the first ever modern cabaret nightclub called Le Chat Noir. I mean, look at this poster, that's Litten. But to connect it to Incineroar, it'd have to be more than just a black cat Incineroar, and instead started to look a bit into the cabaret dancer outfits. I really love those big floofy back parts that they have, just bouncing around while they can do the can or whatever. I don't watch cabaret. I'm not some degenerate. Incineroar in its cabaret form was sort of easy to adapt because it already has a bit of a fur pattern, making wrestler uniforms. So I decided to give it this almost leotard looking outfit with some spiky fur parts sticking down below to look a bit like a dress. Instead of like the championship belt, the fires now come out like those feathery parts, and I think that looks so good. A bit like Quaquaval with its backwater bits. In fact, those two would dance together, just no doubt about it. For the face, I wanted to make sure it had some contrast, and so I made the eyebrows a silvery colour, which also helps link it to the dancer headdresses that cabaret dancers have. Fire Fairy for this one. I thought maybe Psychic or Fighting there, but Fighting is absolutely a no-go, and Psychic isn't the best link towards it, so Fairy works well. I think that the dancing aspect really links that together, and Fire Fairy is a great typing on its own as well. For the concept page, I wanted to show off Incin's little dancey dance here in the normal cabaret style, and I guess would show off the signature move as well. And also show off where the fires come from on the back, although it kind of looks like those marks you get when you do the cupping. No, I think it would be on fire most of the times anyway, so you wouldn't see it that much. Incineroar, the cabaret Pokemon, a fire and fairy type. Colosian form. Taught from Litten to enjoy dancing and being in the limelight, Incineroar gains this new form. It dances to generate powerful streamers of flames from paws on their backs. These flames come out in a flashy display to dazzle friend and foe alike. Being highly sociable, it loves nothing more than to drum up conversations with other Pokemon and try to coax them into dancing along. Multiple Incineroar together will form large dance lines without thought. It has wild disagreements with its Alolan counterparts. Their hatred for one another is irrational. Incineroar in this form has the abilities Blaze and Dancer. A signature move for Incineroar here would be Conflagrating Can. An 80 base power, 100% accurate physical fire type move. The user dances wildly, kicking up strong flames as they go. The user also prepares to copy any stat changes a foe will do afterwards to try and keep it in stat. Oh man, the idea of a Theater Kid Incineroar horrifies me. Last but not least, Empoleon. I already explained that we'd be leaning into the Napoleon inspirations for this one. I actually looked at some paintings of the little freak because honestly, Empoleon's kind of got a mix of a butler and Napoleon already, so I decided some color and slight shape changes were what was in order here. The main problem here was turning that crown of Empoleon's, and also strangely enough, King Packer. What a weird coincidence. Anyway, going from that trident shape to a more Napoleon looking hat, but I still wanted it to be that helmet and beak combo all combined together to make this super strange looking bicorn sort of hat. In the end, it kind of grew on me and reminded me of an old warrior helmet, which makes sense because it now is a water fighting type. Sadly, the best I could do, seeing as steel already fits so well, and dark probably would have worked, I guess, as well. I wanted to show that this thing is sort of a bit smarter and tactical than that of OG Empoleon, so this one has sort of stubby, less sharp fins and claws on its arms and legs. Till you get close and it extends the claws out to attack. But also has some strength for just punching and kicking, and my god do I love the idea of Empoleon doing kung fu kicks, Penguins of Madagascar looking. In the concept page, I wanted to show more of the design elements from other angles. The back part looking like it has some kind of scarf, as well as its tail being a stump. Maybe I should have made it be able to extend into a sword instead. But also showing off the crest of Empoleon with that diamond-like shard that would wiggle to show off some extra emotion in the Pokemon. Oh, and to really just kind of disrespect our homie Empoleon here, he's shorter than any of the other starters here. A fact that he really doesn't enjoy. Our poor short king. Empoleon, the combat Pokemon, a water and fighting type, Colosian form. Piplup raised in Kalos have eventually evolved into this form of Empoleon, boasting an even more arrogant nature and quite the tactician mind. Their claws are retractable, which they will use to lull foes into a false sense of security and get in close before swiftly shredding them apart. Even retracted, they have powerful muscles to slap and kick with phenomenal force. It sometimes doesn't heed their trainer's words if it thinks their own tactics will work better. If this fails, however, they are thrown into a tizzy that will leave them ranting for hours. Empoleon in this form has the abilities Torrent and Anger Point. Empoleon gets a signature move called Weakness Exploit, a 70 base power, 10 PP physical fighting type move with 100% accuracy. The user patiently observes their opponent and strikes once they make a move. This attack results in a critical hit to an opponent who switches out or uses a non-attacking move. And those are the 3 beautiful creations that I predict probably won't show up for Legends ZA. What stars do you think will show up in the game? Comment below your ideas as well as thoughts on the designs here, as well as like and subscribe and smack that bell with a baguette so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you next time.
Wendell is cut. Rudy is cut. Janie, you're gone. Steven, I like your hustle. That's why it was so hard to cut you.